Um, I have fun with this, but it's I've known this since sort of childhood. But you know what an exercise in futility is? It's like a waste of energy, right? So if you know anything about clean burning energy, right? Pure energy, pure light energy, you don't want to waste any of your energy on programs, right? On binary codes. And then you get into Babel, right? In the English language. I've gone round and round in my own soul's consciousness ever since I was a little kid. Okay. Remember rearranging the letters and the numbers? That's why one time when I heard in a conversation that was going on between my clan mother, Patty Broussard, and I think in one video that they did with something called Pyramid Radio One, I think it was, and then there was another one. It wasn't the Goldfish Report. It was one with Dan Boland, who used to work in Unacknowledged Secret Access Project. Secret access projects. Okay, I've covered that to a certain degree of how reactive memory gets compartmentalized. Okay, as a matter of fact, the CIA will give you how they do it. Okay, using their MK Ultra programs to shatter. You know what shattered glass is, right? Shatter a soul using weapons. Do weapons. A TI, a targeted individual. Target your shield. Guardian shields, guard your shield. Okay. And that's why I put a post up a couple minutes ago when somebody posts up a guardian. A guardian can mean different things to other people because I knew as a child, for example, and here's an example. Your perception. The universe that your mind, which is based on energy because you're aware what you are in energy, and a mirror, and you have a mirror because you can see what's in your mirror, right? Okay. So biased perception, BI, like in bi, like in two, like in a dipole, like two magnets, okay? Which means that's not three, that's biwave, okay? Biwave perception is biased perception. Okay. Now, biased perception, you can see play out. And I did because now we get back to the origin of the first musician. For example, if you've ever been in firefighting, or in my case, I was a wildland firefighter, and I worked with fire prevention officers who were investigating the underlying causality of a fire. Okay, which is to go to what we call the spot, the hot spot of the origin. The origin from which that tetrahedron was ignited, right? Or if we will, there's a flash point and then an ignition point, so the gas burns, right? So we can go to the origin of the fire, and believe it or not, we can determine the source of that ignition point, which is the flash point, which is called the spot of blood. X marks the spot. King's X, the seed delivery boy. The music. So the biased perception that is found is when we go to an incident, which is called a post-hazard risk analysis, to see if there's some way that as a result of what happened when the water worlds became turbulent, we can bring them back into a state of calm, a state of magnetic calm, like milk of magnesia. Okay. And so it's not funny, however, because what you realize is that you're always using your fire to put out other fires because spirit gets weaponized or the elementals get weaponized, which means the ions, the ionosphere, becomes a weapon platform through the SSP, if you will, among one, or any intergalactic state of consciousness that is using ions, which based on neurons, which are messengers, in order to do what? Mess with your mind. That's right. And so, how this sort of plays out with the origin is that when you get there, and let's say that there's 10 witnesses or 6 witnesses, pick a number, 47. Okay? Hey, that's 11, isn't it? Was that a random number? Was there a precision in that? Well, now we're back to 2. H2 plus 1 is 3. But if you talk to, because I've had experience in this, you can have 10 people standing on a street corner at a 4-way intersection, which is a 4-way tetrahedron in any city, and witness at the center of that tetrahedron, center point, a collision between 2 automobiles or 2 people on motorcycles that didn't see each other coming. Bang! Collision course. Whoa, between magnets. Whoa. So what ends up happening is that when you take down the witness statements, witness, like in a witness box in a courtroom, they will witness a statement, a state of being in which they were experiencing through their mind's energy what they were viewing in their holographic projection system, and do what's called a recall, a holographic RAM recall. Okay? So now they're going to recall the event that they already experienced, and then when you read that event, that's how they experienced the event that they visually experienced. And then you have the reaction state of how they were reacting spiritually, emotionally, physically, right? With their soul and their spirit, the impact that it had on them by experiencing that collision course. So as you go through all the witness statements, you begin to realize they all witnessed the same event when the collision occurred, but they all have different ways to describe what they experienced together. The individual perception is the biased perception, which means they were experiencing how they were experiencing the reaction they were experiencing by virtue of experiencing the reaction they experienced in energy, the result of that collision. So that would be true of our reaction states when we are perusing the internet. Our magnetic reaction states between our own mirror and a dark mirror or an AI mirror as a result of loss of fractals. So the difference between the two is going to be the torque speed differential between the two, between the acceleration speed of the other mirror and the acceleration speed of our mirrors. And the difference between the two is what? The loss and gain of electrons. That's right. Between givers and the runners, running with our electrons, the blade, the penis dragon. Because the blade has not chosen to surrender to the heart all of its electrons to serve on behalf of the flower that they're not separated from, to become a mated chip as a monopole. So how long does it take to become a monopole? That's a mated chip. That's a hyperspeed drive. That's called total surrender of self in order to serve on behalf of the all creation of everything we give love to. Do, 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 do.